Hey everybody, it's Natalie B. McKenzie with The Whole Woman, and welcome to Living Life Authentically with yours truly. It's International Women's Day, so you know what we're going to do over here. We're celebrating queens and princesses. So all the women and girls out in the world, if you can hear my voice, just pause for a minute, fix your crown, tilt back, get those shoulders up, give me that smile and a wink. Happy International Women's Day. And here at The Whole Woman, every day is about you. So thank you so much for joining us. We have an exciting lineup. But before we do that, guess what? It's Monday. So the Whole Woman podcast goes live. Once again, it's a whole new episode. And guess who we're chatting with? It's none other than Bevelations. How apropos on International Women's Day, we're talking to Bevelations. It gets greater later. Bevy Smith, a quintessential Harlem girl, author and host on SiriusXM, is going to be talking all about the making of Bevelations. So join us on mochapodcastnetwork.com/TWWP, like Peter. That's mochapodcastnetwork.com/TWWP. And we'll put that in the chat later on. So when we get done, we'll go over there and we'll do a little dish-in with Bevy. So tune in on Mocha Podcast Network later for our podcast. Well, today, are you ready? Get yourself some water, some tea. It's International Women's Day. Get a cocktail or some champagne. We're celebrating. We have an amazing guest for you today. She is none other than this. Did I mention? She is quintessential. What I love most about her is she was kicking butt, taking names from the Midwest that the guys in New York were talking about her some 30, 40 years ago. She's publisher, brand and community builder, co-founder of Real Men Charities, and founder of Marketing Opportunities in Business and Entertainment, otherwise known as MOBE. Help me welcome today's guest, none other than Yvette Moyo.
Hey, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It's such a pleasure to have you. You have the most beautiful smile. It's a delight to have you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And, you know, I cannot wait for you to tell us the stories. But when we were getting ready to come online, I learned a little fact about you that tickles me to no end. I cannot wait to share this. It's a pleasure to have you, and happy International Women's Day.
And same to you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So Yvette, we've heard quite a bit about MOBE, especially during COVID, because you've used social media as a platform to keep alive the business that you have. And actually, I think you might have extended and expanded your reach because of social media during this past year.
We have.
So COVID has done something good. Once again, you know, this whole period of being quarantined, but we hope that you have been well. How have you and your family been during this time?
We've been well. We've had a couple of scares, but we are blessed. My mom is 91. I take care of her, and we are blessed to have gotten this far along the way. And I've had both my vaccinations.
Fabulous. And your mom is 91.
Yes, she is 91 years young, and she's a relic.
I love it. Well, happy International Women's Day to her. We know we stand on shoulders such as hers, so we salute her. So Yvette, you mentioned your mom, which helps me to just get us started on the right foot. Tell us about, Yvette, where you're from, your family, your mom, and the dynamics of you growing up.
Well, I'm a South Side Chicago girl for real. And in fact, Michelle Obama grew up like about a block and a half away from where I am right now. And we went to the same grammar school. But let me go back a little further. I was the oldest girl. I am the oldest girl, and now the oldest child of my mom. But I had an older brother who was amazing, an artist, an avid reader. He taught me how to write, how to sing, how to run. Just fabulous. So to Stephen Jackson, I always have to say, thank you, brother, for making me amazing and making me know that I'm amazing. Our family was a race family. I mean, my grandfather was a proud entrepreneur, and he had a what would you call, it's a scavenger company, but it basically, he picked up garbage. And at that time, Chicago heated their buildings with coal. And so he came in, dirty every day from delivering coal and picking up the ashes, etc. And my grandmother didn't work. She had a wonderful life and she lived downstairs. She took care of the kids. My mom didn't work till I was like 10. And it was just a great life with sisters, brothers. And I was pegged as one who didn't have any rhythm. Being the lighter skinned sister, it was not fun. And I was kind of heavy too. So I took my younger sister to music lessons and dance lessons every week on the bus for many years.
Wow.
But I always had it in me. So growing up was great. And we volunteered. We did things. I was a Brownie Scout, a Girl Scout, sold those Girl Scout cookies, won those Girl Scout badges. And it was a great foundation for what I ended up doing, which was selling advertising and now having my own business for 33 years.
So Yvette, you mentioned taking your sister to dance and music. Did you both go together or you just delivered her to her classes?
I delivered her to her classes. I sat and read, and it was a good dance company, and they didn't need anybody who couldn't keep up. And I think I had it all in my head, but I became a great dancer and the go-to dancer at parties because I was like, I am not going to carry that moniker. No way.
That girl can dance.
Yes, I can dance, and I do have rhythm.
That's lovely. So you've got this older brother and a younger sister. Did you have another sibling along the way or just three of you?
Yes, my youngest sister, Cynthia, who looks a lot like me now, amazingly. We never thought we looked alike, but now we travel and people say twins. And we just never, because I was 5 years older, I never hung out with her. So we never had that happen to us. But Cynthia is amazing. And I have a big mother, kind of a big sister complex. So leading things was never difficult for me.
Fabulous. So you're selling Girl Scout cookies. You're mastering the art of being the best brownie and Girl Scout. What do you do when you get to high school? Do you stay involved in those civic organizations? Tell us about high school.
Absolutely. My high school experience was so wonderful. I had the best friends and I spent a lot of time in the theater. We had a brand new, in my freshman year, we couldn't even go to our high school because our high school was behind in its construction. So we spent the first year in a little school, and there were 4 schools that held the freshmen. And we got together and danced to competitions and parties. And I had the best parties, house parties in the world. I was just that kind of girl, that kind of entertainer. And then in the theater, talent show time, me and my friends were dancers, but I was I wasn't the good one, but I was in every talent show and people still remember me as dancing in the talent show. So arts was always part of, my love and just the Black aesthetic, who we are as a people. My brother was the first hippie I ever met.
Oh,
so I didn't know, I heard on TV what hippies were. And I was like, that's him. But he went from strict Black power and even Blackstone Rangers to the Panthers to a straight up hippie who went away to hate Ashbury to live out his true self. And so I could see no limits. You can change it up, you can switch it up, you can do whatever you want to do in life.
I love it. So in high school, you're not in the arts, you're involved in civic activities. Tell us about your progression from high school to college. Was that encouragement coming from home? Was it from school? What was it like?
No, my parents actually kind of thought that my English teacher, who had me go and fill out forms to get financial aid, that they kind of thought, why is he making you go away? We never had a college graduate or anybody that went away in our family in this generation. And so it was kind of foreign to us that you wouldn't just go to the junior college down the street. And so, or the city college. And this teacher, my English teacher, said, you can write, you have talent, you're not like the other people, and you would flourish in college. And my mother, I got accepted to like 6 colleges, and my mother said, choose the closest one.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I went. And that's how I went to Eastern Illinois University.
How far was that from home?
3 hour drive.
Oh,
A
that
3 hour drive. I got accepted in Texas. I got accepted in Wisconsin, all over, and that's what happened. And I
wow.
never questioned it.
You never questioned it.
Until I got out of school, and I was like, "What? They have black schools? Really?"
You did not know that an HBCU was an option.
No.
So you were accepted to all the schools that you applied to, but you went to the one closest to home as per mom. What did you study when you went over?
I studied everything, and they had this multiple. It's called interdisciplinary degree. That was the first, and I was the first graduate. And my degree was in Afro-American Studies, and I had a minor in theater, and I was able to get all of my requirements in 3 years. And so from 17 to 20, I was in and out.
But wait a minute. So you got a minor in theater, and but you took your sister to dance and music lessons. You didn't participate. So where is this love coming from?
It was really like, I always knew that, I was being put in the background. I had something to say. I think I was, in the early years, I was kind of shy and I was heavy. So it took me a while to like come to the front. I was also light skinned in a brown skin family. And so that also makes you hesitate a little bit. And so I was just, I just was a late bloomer, but I bloomed, baby.
I know. In and out of college in 3 years, you were all about getting it done. You were on a mission. So tell us about your career start, and what field do you go into with an interdisciplinary degree? What was
I went straight. It was a lot of psychology and sociology, and it was a lot of history and literature. And so I went straight to the Black Theater Company, the Chicago Theater Company, and volunteered there. And I produced a couple of shows, and I was a poet. By then I was a poet for sure. Oh. And then I also went to the Black book publisher, which was Third World Press, where Don L. Lee was everybody's heartthrob back then. And I was there, shortly after he changed his name to Haki Madabute. And to this day, we are still great friends. I'm friends with he and his wife. And I have a publishing firm in Chicago, and they're in their products are always a book review in my magazine, etc. So the theater and the arts and entertainment have been a part of what I've done.
I skipped over something, and I want to go back a little bit with you, because you mentioned this in our pre-show, and I think it's really important. It will help us to understand a lot too about you. Tell us about your involvement on campus in college.
Oh yeah, on campus, I was involved in everything, and I got up early, did my work, and I was at all the parties. And so people would like ask me, how do I do everything? Well, I also found out that there was money in the universities to do whatever you want to do. And I joined the Student Senate. And the Student Senate was where the money was, the decisions about how the college was going to be run. But my interest was like in getting the speakers. So we got the major speakers, Dick Gregory, Sonia Sanchez, Nikki Giovanni, all of the people that I loved, we were able to get on campus. And one of my biggest achievements was being the president of the Black Student Union and on the Senate. And I found out on the General Market Senate that the homecoming queen, which is such a coveted place at our schools, right? We could win that with 350 votes, because all the big fraternities and sororities, never had more than 200, members. So I went on campus and I convinced Black students, if everybody votes, if every one of us, 375 people, vote for this sister here, we can win the homecoming queen. And we won.
First ever.
Yes.
And in the white campus.
Pardon me? Yes, on a white campus in 1970.
Ooh, it's
1973 or 74.
It's about to be a revolution.
It was a revolution. It would be revolutionary today, actually. And so, but they protested it, and that year in the yearbook they had a Black page that talked about the conflict and how the Black students would not allow, it would not allow a homecoming queen to be named if it wasn't our queen, because someone came up with something that was very shady and shaky, and we weren't having it. And so while that Black queen was not crowned, it was confirmed that she did get the most votes. And on the
They never crowned her, Yvette?
They never crowned her, but she got the most votes. And then the story was run in the yearbook.
Wow. Okay, so you took all that activism to the street when you got out of college.
Yes, I did. And it was and I took it to after I was at the theater company and the publishing firm. Then I worked for the city in as a vocational counselor. So my idea was to save lives by putting people on the correct career path. But as soon as I learned that was really a revolving door for the people that I wanted to help, then I knew that I wanted to work for a Black company, and I never worked for any other company. By the time I was 23, I did work, and Barbara Proctor found me right after I had my little boy, and she had me work as her assistant while her assistant was on vacation for a week or two. And that was my first exposure to ad agencies and publications. And soon after, I was in a competition to sell advertising door to door, $50 listings, and you make $7.50 commission. And the one who won, they hired 11 people. They didn't really want to hire me, but I came volunteering. I'm a super volunteer. So I came in a suit. My girlfriend was like, you could wear jeans. I came in a suit and ready to go, big old afro, and sold my butt off and got that full-time job in the office, which was the prize for the person who could sell the most advertising. And stayed with that company for 11 years and left as senior vice president, director of sales and marketing. And I had about a good 5 to 7 years on the streets of New York, selling ads to the major ad agencies. And
tell us about your time in New York. And, even before getting to New York, I understand you had a bit of notoriety in the sales advertising business.
I did. The Black Enterprise, Midwest sales team knew my name because I could close some deals. Anheuser-Busch had Anheuser-Busch, the Budweiser Kings of Africa, Michelob, and Budweiser, and recruitment ads for jobs at Anheuser-Busch. And I could get all of them in one issue of our magazine.
Oh my God.
And some people at Anheuser-Busch were not happy about that, but I would be doing that. By the time they caught me doing that, then I was already at Ford Motor Company with a recruitment ad and a product ad for 2 of their product lines. Oh. So by the time I got to New York, I was, after work, I found myself socializing in New York. And this is a funny story. Someone said Yvette Jackson. And there was this guy who said, "Where?" And I said, "It's me." And he's like, "Oh, where is she? How do you close that business? Earl Graves has talked about you in our sales meetings."
Mr. Black Enterprise himself.
Yeah, so that's when I knew I made it. When Mr. Bob Tate told me that I actually was revered with the magazine everyone admired. And my magazine was Dollars and Cents magazine, and it was a magazine for professionals where Black Enterprises was for business owners. We were able to go into corporate halls and get the top corporate executives and write about them, which meant that they hooked us up with the advertising some of the time.
So you had a whole strategy because, for those of you who are watching, Bob Tate was Mr. Sales and Advertising. And in the 70s into the 80s, maybe even early 90s. I mean, if you want it sold and make it happen, Bob Tate was the man here on the East Coast in the #1 market. And you were in the Midwest giving him a run for his money.
Yes. And, we became friends immediately. He introduced me to his daughter, who hooked us up for one of the early MOBE conferences, Deidre Tate. And I'm just, really, I love Bob Tate, and he knows I love him too. But that was like the highlight of my career. That's when I knew I had made it in the industry.
That's fabulous. So, how long, you said you left corporate after a while. Tell us about that transition with starting your own businesses. And I see you own a few brands. Tell us about your first brand, when you started, and how you built the others as well.
Okay. I left when I left the magazine business, Dollars and Cents was, a strong competitor with Black Enterprise. And I started my own company with a couple of my clients, Seagram, Gillette, were two of my early clients. And we went to the Regal Theater with Seagram doing a community give back program, which included Black talent. And on the stage, we discovered Adele Givens, the comedian who was on the stage for the first time, as well as George Wilborn, who became a syndicated radio personality. They were in the talent competitions we put together at the Regal Theater, Sinbad. We could just go on and on. Bernie Mac. These are the people that were there at the theater every day. And this was one of my first client assignments as an independent business owner. Wow. And shortly after, we were doing extremely well. We launched our Real Men Cook Father's Day's events that have been in as many as 13 cities all on the same day. And it is the largest and longest running Father's Day celebration, really, that dispels the myth that African-American men are not.
So Yvette, you are the engine, the mind, the brains, the person behind Real Men Cook that we see state to state. And I thought this came out of Texas. Why I thought this was a Southern thing,
well,
I have no idea.
We were in 13 cities all on the same day. We got it from Lana Turner in Harlem. Harlem, she did her Men Who Cook and gave me full permission to go ahead and change the model to what I wanted, which was to grab Father's Day and take all the media in the world to give it to Black men and have Black men on the TV talking about their cooking prowess, but moreover, their position as fathers and father figures, which is really the history and story about our families in America.
That's right. Change the verbiage, change the conversation. Yeah.
Yes.
The narrative, rather, about our men.
Exactly.
That's fabulous.
I've met some of the most wonderful men in the world as a result. I'm single now, and we're now into our 32nd year of Real Men Cook, and never missed a year. We did have to pull back on those multiple markets, but so many people picked up the spirit of what we were doing. We have a great surprise for this year. I'm not going to share that. But then MOBE was born in 1992, and MOBE is going on 30 years.
Wow. Now, I have to tell you, before COVID and being quarantined, I never heard of MOBE. So I'm sure there are at least another 100 people out there like myself who learned about you during quarantine. So tell us about MOBE and exactly what MOBE does.
Okay, so MOBE is Marketing Opportunities in Business and Entertainment, and we call it a symposium series. And we don't call it a conference because we just needed to let people know that it's different. It's not your average conference. And what made ours different is that we had an ethical position, and that was that Black people were the most important people that you could meet that would accelerate your career. And so our value of who we were, our ideas, our culture drives everything. This was like 92, right? And we were able to say, before you leave here, find somebody you can do business with. And in a short 10 years, we counted $200 million in business that had done between people who met each other at MOBE. Now, that's both Black-owned businesses, but moreover, it's those corporate executives that I told you about when I worked with them in the magazine. They were one of the first people to register because they knew I was committed to the Black consumer market, and I was going to invite people to give case study examples, not a textbook idea of something at a conference, but this is how we did the deal. This was who was involved, and this is what you should do. And this was the missing link. Once we put the missing link in, then we were winners. That's the kind of thing that can save us years in developing a product or a brand or a concept. And MOBE, now we use the hashtag MOBE accelerates for that very reason. And we were off the market for a while. About 10, 12 years, we did not have actual conferences, but people were still doing what we call MOBE deals. So what you had to do is find that person you could do business with and then report back in with the number of dollars you spent and the results from that union, and to be very leave your ego at the door. There were no celebrities at MOBE because look, we're all in entertainment. We're all in marketing. Before that, though, I was working for the Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyers, BISLA organization, and I was raising money for them. That's how I got the idea that, hey, I'm raising money for their conference, and I know all these people already. I could actually start MOBE. So by the time they started being lawyers and asking me a lot of questions about how I did it,
You were inviting them over to MOBE.
Yes, and they came.
Very smart. Now tell me about the Quarry. What is the Quarry and where is it?
Okay, so first of all, Real Men Cook then became under our we founded the nonprofit after the for-profit did well. And so, I mean, after we founded the for-profit after the brand Real Men Cook did well. And so we put our events, our Real Men Cook events under that banner. We also put something else, MOBE, under that banner. And then in 2018, we bought an entertainment venue. Our nonprofit owns 100% of the stock in an entertainment venue called the Quarry Event Center in Chicago. And we not only did we produce events and have what was called like a jazz supper club every Friday, we also had a Monday R&B session where you could actually have dinner and a show. So that venue has a shared kitchen where caterers rent the kitchen out for their own businesses, but then we could do our own produced events and create a supper club. So when people used to say to me, where is the Love Jones in Chicago? Because, Love Jones, people thought, we must have a Love. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a place like that. So that's where we made the Quarry.
Oh, so now it's quarantine. I love it. What did you do with the Quarry during quarantine?
We turned our venue into a food stability center. Oh. And so we actually have given away over 1 million pounds of food over the course from April to December, working with the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Our venue became an actual designated food pantry in the city of Chicago. Mm-hmm. We serve on the mayor's, I serve on the mayor's racial equity and rapid response to COVID team, because our nonprofit started to do so much work in the area of health and wellness and mental health for men in particular. It was just a natural for us to go that route.
That is fabulous. In fact, you threw me for a loop there because I was busy with the pond Quarry during quarantine. I did not realize you had done so much. That's God's work. That's amazing. 100 million pounds of food.
Well, 1 million pounds of food that our volunteers and our nonprofit has managed.
Wow.
To give away to the community.
Okay, I've got to ask this because I just have to. We're getting the vaccine. Things are starting to lighten up, loosen up just a little bit. What are you going to do with Real Men Cook for Father's Day this year?
I can't. It's going to be national.
Okay.
It's going to be national. We are going to claim our rightful place in multiple cities. We do. Well, I can tell you this much. We have a relationship with a social justice church organization, a national organization of social justice ministers. And they will be putting on small Real Men Cook events all over the country.
At the same time, simultaneously.
All at the same time. And we are still selling sponsorship, by the way.
Okay, all right. So if you want to sponsor, if you want to get involved, maybe the Whole Woman, I don't know if the bite size is too big for the Whole Woman, but we'll be happy to support you.
That's wonderful. I'm just happy to talk about it right now. There's an aspect of it that's going to blow up a little. I saved a little caveat. But we're actually going to be available and local, and we're doing a virtual. We did a virtual last year, which was Real Men Cook had a global focus where we focused on our chefs that had cooked all over the country, all over the world. And Chef Jeff Henderson, you might know some of these chefs. Chef Henderson, Chef Richard Grisby, who had Grisby's in LA, and a number of chefs were on, and they're going to be with us again this year.
That's fabulous. Now it's Monday, and I know about MOBE because MOBE Mondays share the same producer as the Whole Woman as Living Life Authentically and Quarantine, our old show did. What are you doing with MOBE Mondays?
Oh, MOBE Mondays. We just completed a fabulous 1 week. Every day last week we had a show dedicated to, guess what? Women in advertising. So
Oh,
we had the CEOs of the Black advertising agencies. We had CMOs, Chief Marketing Executives. We had creative directors, which they hardly get a play. Valerie Graves from New York. It was just a fabulous person and creative individual, and she just talked about the creatives in the industry, and that's something that we don't get a chance to see now that we know that advertising industry is one of the most racist places, that people have short-lived careers, and Black people cannot stay in the business and can hardly get in the business and be promoted. So they have very short-lived careers with most of the non-Black ad agencies. And so that week gave people some insight into what a field that they now might enter, now that the agencies seem to, with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, now people are listening to see what they have missed and what the opportunities are. So that's the kind of acceleration that MOBE can bring to our audience, and all those can be found on our YouTube channel. And
I want you to tell us how to stay in touch with you.
Okay.
And I also want you to tell us what's coming on the horizon for MOBE Symposium.
Oh, yes. Well, the MOBE Symposium is going to be April the 23rd, Friday, April the 23rd. And we have a lot of subjects that we tackle, but what's unique about ours is that it is a Black, culturally based conference series when we operate with a sense of history, purpose, and mission. As you could probably hear from what I've just said, we are building businesses, we are building careers, supporting careers, and accelerating careers. So our lineup is just absolutely incredible. With some of the leading people in the industry, we're blessed. It is a mission, it is God-given. We are blessed to give people something they could actually. Have you ever been to a conference and you left there and saying, that was nice for them? People leave our conference and it's like, man, I got so much for me.
Awesome.
It's all about you.
So that's April 23rd.
Yes, Friday, April 23rd. It is online. MOBE Symposium on Facebook, or MOBE Symposium on LinkedIn. MOBE Symposium is our YouTube channel, and you can find us any place there, and we'll definitely be able to give you all the details.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Yvette Moyo. It's so apropos on International Women's Day to celebrate and salute a woman such as you who have continued to do so much for those around. And more importantly, thank you for your service during that, some of the darkest days here in America. And we know Chicago was one of the hard-hit cities. So we thank you for all that you do. MOBE Symposium comes up on April 23rd, and look out for Father's Day because real men still cook, and she has a big surprise for us. Thank you so much for joining us, Yvette. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight, and I salute you on this International Women's Day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Natalie.
Oh, my pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here over at The Whole Woman. It's Living Life Authentically with yours truly. You know by now it's Natalie B. McKenzie. And today on International Women's Day, I salute my mom. She was a trailblazer and she was making a difference. Ironically, my mom was in the newspaper ad sales business many years ago. That's right, in Jamaica, in Montego Bay. And that was her daytime job, because she did a million things like me. She was a serial entrepreneur, and she was a mom of 9. Don't ask how she had time. So here's to my mom, and of course to my sisters, Dawn, Debbie. I love you. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. But fortunately for me, my love circle is expansive. And if I were to take the time to name the women who have influenced, shaped, and elevated my life, we would be here till tomorrow. So to the Whole Woman Love Circle, I say to you all, I love you. I thank you. And Deirdre Tate, you know how important you are to me. You have pushed me out of the nest and pushed me out of my comfort zone. I salute you and I thank you. Yvette Moyo, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm Natalie B. McKenzie. I am the whole woman. I wish you enough life to live, enough joy to give, enough love to share. I wish you enough. Good night.
Good night.